You would advocate, anyone that's advocating for more government involvement so we can have, in the Singapore example, a airport with a cute waterfall. Anybody that's doing that is hiring the state to try to speak in for the American culture and American politics failures. That's what leftists do.
Or not a lot of time, but I've been trying to find Matt Walsh's original tweet that I think sparked this. I think there was a picture of Singapore's airport and how beautiful it was. And there was something about we can't have nice things in America because, you know, Singapore, I think, has capital punishment and they spank people for stealing or whatever. Am I right? Is that the tweet that sparked the debate or the back and forth between you and Matt Walsh?
Yes, and that's a pretty solid paraphrase. I'm pretty sure everyone would, not be too upset with that. That tweet speaks to, you wanting.
Hold for 1 second. Let me. I'm gonna let you unpack everything. But now that we've established that's the tweet,
yeah.
Why did that sparked you to respond? And if so, why?
It's just more of the same, neocon, non-conservative, asking for more government that comes out of the mouth of Matt Walsh. Before, as we discussed on the show before, if we're talking about getting more conservative values in urban America, Black America, where it's needed, asking for the government to be more involved in cane and brutalize petty thefts, right? That's not American. There's a thing called the Eighth Amendment. Cruel and unusual punishment is a thing that we don't want. On top of the fact that, the war on drugs has been a historic failure. The founding fathers, even though I morally disagree with it, the founding fathers used drugs. And I'm not advocating for drug use, but I'm also not going to advocate for more intervention by the state to come into poorer communities to force and beat people for choices that they make with their body. I think that's the height of you sound like a leftist in that space.
Not sure if he sound like a leftist, but I do agree with you that he may be misguided. In a leftist calling for harsh punishment for drug offenses, I don't see that as consistent.
No, I'm not saying it. He's doing the same thing that a leftist did. There were leftists that advocated for the state to come in and violate Americans that chose not to take a jab or wear a mask. See, his brand of statism is in alignment with the one that he morally agrees with. That's exactly what leftists do. Just because I work out, I have a sip of maybe whiskey here and there, which is a drug, which is a poison, right? But just because the state sanctions it doesn't mean it's okay. My body doesn't know the difference. But saying that to say, I take care of my body. I am hard on criminals. I want them arrested when they violate people's rights and property, right? But what I'm not going to do is because people decide to use drugs that I'm going to say, that the government should step in where we and our communities have failed, because that's what it is. Now we want big daddy government to come in so we can have nice things. You would advocate, anyone that's advocating for more government involvement so we can have, in the Singapore example, a airport with a cute waterfall. Anybody that's doing that is hiring the state to try to speak in for the American culture and American politics failures. That's what leftists do. They want to tie the state in to come do their dirty work, to attack people that they disagree with. That's a leftist tactic.
Okay, and so let's say I agree with you there, but can you not understand why some Americans are looking at the chaos in our major cities and out of frustration are like, and they're not just the chaos, but they're looking at people getting away with relatively violent crimes and certainly cash or smash and grab, looting and all this other stuff, and coming to the conclusion that we need more punishment at the very least. We need more punishment because this seems too chaotic. I'm not saying he's offering the right solution. I'm saying can you be sympathetic to the frustration that may have taken him away from more consistent small government values?
Absolutely. So two things to that. One, my shirt says make criminals afraid again. I want hard punitive measures. I'm a Second Amendment absolutist and activist. If you use a firearm in the commission of a violent crime or to violate somebody for robbery, rape, homicide, theft, I want to throw the entire book at you. That's me, because you are violating an American's rights. So I can understand the frustration. The irony is he made an entire video about me talking about not being empathetic for people. I am being empathetic for his frustration or other Americans' frustration. However, that empathy does not mean that we advocate or even look at the lack of freedom that the Singapore people and their government have as a model for Americans. If you don't like that as an American, you can move to Singapore.